Hello everyone, and welcome to another Modswell video. I am your host Maxwell. This is actually going to be released on my mum's birthday, so be sure to wish her a good one. I do love you, mum. Today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 mods of the week, so let's just get into this. First up, we have a cool looking armor set known as the Falconer Armor, which you may recognise from the Dark Souls franchise. This set has some really nice features to put it apart from the others. A long plume on the helmet, a red draping over the shoulder, and a really nice carved plate design. Overall, the standard of this set is exceptionally high, and as it comes in 3 resolutions, the standard can get even higher. I'm personally using the 1K version as it only costs 16.2 megabytes, but the more discerning amongst us may prefer the 2K for 25.7 megabytes, or even a crisp 4K, which is going to set you back a rather large 62.8 megabytes. I'm actually going to be switching to the 2K, as it isn't too high of a cost and does actually look better, although to be fair, it looks pretty good in the 1K too. Slot this mod into your unique items added to static locations. This is because to get your hands on this set, you'll need to make your way over to Solitude, and, as the author says, look for a hawk's nest. I'm sure you've already worked out where this is, but naturally, you've also just seen me go and grab it, so maybe that cryptic clue is somewhat ruined. Moving on, we have a mod perfect for those klepto characters out there. The mod in question is different purses for different money amounts. It's a bit of a mouthful, but this is going to be helpful in quite a few ways. For one, you'll be able to differentiate between small bags of coin and large ones. This in itself is extremely helpful, but beyond this, it also looks fantastic when compared to vanilla, and from an immersive standpoint, makes a ton of sense. Those with money can afford nicer things, right? This mod is definitely most noticeable when playing as a thief or a crypt delver, someone after those sweet septums. To top it off, this is a really easy mod to use. Simply throw it in with your other textures and enjoy the new look, which for 5 megabytes is pretty easy to fit in. This is one of those mods where it's slightly confusing as to why Bethesda didn't do this to begin with. Modders are always fixing their missed opportunities, which is lucky for us as the player. Moving on, we'll be taking a look at Divine Warrior, a Cleric armor, spell and weapon bundle. So I imagine the cogs have turned and you've worked out roughly what's going on here. This mod is a collection of the creator's favourite Cleric, Paladin and Battle Mage style mods. If you're looking to build an order around any of those ideals, then this mod is going to be a top round pick. To get an idea of why, you'll need to know what's in this mod. So that is what I'm going to do next. In this bundle, we get armor sets from Imitations, which is a mashup style mod brought to you by the same author who made Fashions of the 4th Era. Dawnguard Robes by Cassaline, Meridia's Champion Armor by Bravos, Archer's Protection by Rondel62, Eldruin Dawnbreaker Mesh and Texture Replacer by Asherion, Wearable Spellbooks, Scrolls and Staves by Lilam, Holy Wards by Banjo Bunny, the Sun Rune Restoration Spell by Eleonora, Solar Soul Trap by Zalba Paralysis, Last Rites by Mr. Wim, Reflection Wards by S-Joga90, Restorative Candlelight and Mage Light by Morgan Mars, Advanced Alteration Telekinetics by Ryujin, Psijic Teleport Spells by Soga, No Force for Illusion Magic by 6DD, and some assets from Odin, which of course was made by Anacian. Now I know that's a lot to spout out, but it has to be said to give you an idea of the quality on offer. Even if you've not heard of the mods themselves, you've likely come across the work from each of these authors at least once. Certain textures held within this mod, such as for the wards and runes, are fantastic and help bring up some of the lesser improved parts of the game. There are plenty of reasons to slot this in, but I'll be honest, you're likely only going to use this in a suitable order due to its 43.4 megabyte size, which, don't get me wrong, isn't massive. But we have so many things to cover within orders that 5 gigabytes often just isn't enough, and sometimes things just have to fall by the wayside. For the best results with this mod, I suggest putting it into unique items added to static locations. This isn't to say that's the only way you get the items, but as the mod is covering so many things, I suggest putting it low to ensure everything works as expected. For the penultimate mod, I've chosen Honoured Dead, a Draugr and skeleton model replacer. This mod, as I'm sure you've guessed, is going to be editing the models of those enemies. But what exactly does that mean? Well, simply put, they'll be getting a glow up. This is achieved by editing the ancient Nord armor and weapons, including the Nord hero variants. By doing this, the characters that use them, i.e. the skeletons and Draugr, are going to look a whole host better. And so will you, should you decide to take these sets from them. The armors themselves are created using NordWarUA's assets, which for me is a true sign of quality. One of the ideas behind this mod is to keep the undead armor sets up to date with the other replacers you've likely used. And they do look fantastic. I'd love to see a dirty version of this mod created though, as the shiny clean look doesn't quite suit ancient beings who have been resting for years. But that aside, this is my new favourite option for a mod in this slot. And plans are currently in place to create patches for other popular Draugr and skeleton mods to ensure it fits into orders with ease. At 52.7 megabytes, this isn't actually going to be the easiest squeeze in the world, but it is a worthwhile one. Slot this in with your other armor retextures below anything that changes the same sets, and enjoy. Finally, it's time for my top mod of the week. Here I've gone for 2022 Resurgence of the Morag Tong. This mod is a largely untested quantity, and naturally, I've only played with it in the current orders I'm using, so I can't talk as to everything that may conflict with it. I say this as the author themselves have explained that they are unsure with the stability surrounding this mod. So far, however, I've been pleasantly surprised and haven't had any issues as of yet. Now the downer stuff is out of the way, let's talk about what this mod is actually going to do. First up is an entirely new questline located on Solstheim, which is great because I do now need reasons to head over there. The quest naturally revolves around rivaling factions who perform a similar task in the same space, the Morag Tong and the Dark Brotherhood. And as a side note, if you are a member of the DB, you will be attacked by them on sight. Whilst fighting your way through the questline, meeting new NPCs and travelling to new locations, experiencing new stories, you'll be accepted as a member of the Morag Tong, a brand new faction. Sort of. They're a brand new faction that you can finally join in Skyrim. However, they have had a small presence in the base game, and I do mean really small. A few quests, tops. But as many lore heads know their Morag Tong inside and out, I imagine this will be a happy addition for anyone with such a disposition. I'd love a lore-based explanation of the Morag Tong in the comments. I will pin any handy or interesting information on the subject. It's actually very difficult to cover a mod like this without giving away spoilers and ruining someone's first experience with a mod, but I do feel comfortable enough setting you on the right track. With that in mind, starting the new quest is fairly straightforward. Make your way to their hideout and talk to their leader, Vanilath. One of their dialogue trees will lead you to becoming their new recruit, and now the hunt is on. It's as simple as that. Once you're a member, the usual faction options will start to pop up, from new sets of armors to followers, and obviously more challenges to take up for the honour of your new group. Now I'm sure you're expecting this to be a huge mod, and unfortunately you would be correct. But this much extra was always going to be a little costly. In this case, 433.2 megabytes. Expensive, but definitely worth a play, especially if you love playing an assassin but are bored of the Dark Brotherhood. Be aware though, things could clash with this mod. Normally I have enough time to check against mods I would deem dangerous, but I have had a lot of work this week, so I do need your help. If you come across a conflict, I would greatly appreciate any heads up in the comments section. On that, I am going to call it. I have left the links to two communities I'm invested in, which are my Discord and the Skyrim Xbox mods subreddit. I've also left links to both Xbox and PC players so they can go and grab these mods if they stand out to you. There will be a link to all of my load orders as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page for anyone who fancies donating to the channel, but again, there's no pressure there. If this video has been helpful, I would really appreciate those likes, comments, and of course subscriptions, and there is pressure there. They really help me with YouTube's algorithm. Either way, thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.